Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of The Bullet. My name is Paul Lathrop. I'm the Deputy Director of New Media for the Second Amendment Foundation. Joining me today on this Friday training edition of The Bullet is Tom Walls. Tom is a senior instructor with the Firearms Academy of Seattle. Tom, thanks for joining us today, man.
Always a pleasure, Paul. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you, man. And for me, it is a Friday. I get the weekend off. I'm not broadcasting tomorrow, so we do get the full weekend off.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, there you go. The reason I'm not broadcasting tomorrow is Susan and I are taking USCCA instructor courses. We're going to become full-fledged instructors tomorrow, and that's going to be a full day course. So I'm not going to be able to run home and broadcast in between sessions. So, but we do have a lot to get to today. We're gonna cram probably several hours of information into about the 30 minutes that we got. So let's get off and get started. What we wanted to talk about today was in interactions with law enforcement, specifically when you're armed. We'll get into the real meaty stuff here in just a little bit, but I thought probably what we should do to get started with, Tom, most people, their most common interaction with law enforcement is if you're driving your car and you commit a traffic infraction and law enforcement pulls you over. That's what most people, their most common interaction with law enforcement is. How do you handle that if you're armed and you just went 10 over and law enforcement noticed you and wants to talk to you about it? How do you handle that?
Well, we've talked about this basic principle in dealing with law enforcement in other interviews that we've had. Don't be a Richard. If you're getting pulled over, you don't necessarily know why yourself, and come on, we've all driven 10 over. Nobody I know is a saint. Fair and square, be decent about it. Realize you're going to have a discussion. Realize if you get a lecture, you might want to shut up because you might be just getting the lecture. And realize that if you disagree, legitimately or not, with what the officer is doing, argue it in court. You know, the guys just do, or the ladies just doing their job. Having been on both sides of that, both as an officer and an infractor, that's the first thing. There's going to be an interview. So you get the flashing lights, maybe the siren, pull over safely, and they'll usually wait to light you up. They may be behind you and go, oh man, I'm got. Okay, you're got. Drive safely. They'll deliberately, as best they can, guide you to a place that's safe to over. Give it a lot of room. First thing you want to do is shut off your vehicle. Okay? Start acting like a good guy. Think of every episode of Cops you've ever seen, and what do the bad guys do? They leave it running, and as soon as the cop gets out of the car, they bail or they take off in the car or something. So don't act like that. Act like a good guy that, oops, went 10 over, okay, cowboy up, stand up to it, shut your car off.
Yep.
Okay? Second thing I like to do, and I recommend this to all our students, lower all your windows. If you have power windows, crank them down as best you can, including the rear ones. If it's dark, turn on.
Especially if you have tint.
Yeah, especially if you have tint. We've got tint in both our vehicles. Drop the rear windows too, because they're going to want to see what's going on. Understand that cops are real cautious. Understand that cops get ambushed in these things. The episodes on TV and the YouTube videos are true. There is no such thing as a routine traffic stop. They're dangerous as sin. So make it easy for the cop. Have your paperwork ready when you go. Okay? Have your license, your registration, proof of insurance, anything that's required by the state you're in, ready to go, so you're not fumbling when the cop is walking up, because you're going to have a little time. They're going to be back there. They're going to run the plate, see the tag, maybe get some info before they come up. And they're also watching to see what you do. Because if they can see you from the back and you're going back under the seat,
Yeah.
that's what cops call a clue. It's unusual behavior. Okay, I'm done. Make it simple. You don't know what their day was like. You don't know what call they just came off of. You don't know if they went to a funeral of one of their coworkers in the prior week. Cop funerals are second only to children's funerals as to the amount of sad. I didn't go to many in my short term as a reserve officer, but I went to too damn many. And I don't like bagpipe music anymore. So be respectful. You don't have to agree with the cop. You can disagree all you want, but don't be a Richard about it.
One thing I would like to add, if it's after dark, turn on your dome light so they can see
Absolutely.
you.
Think of this. Bad guys don't do that. Bad guys want to hide stuff. So they don't lower their windows, the rear windows. They don't shut the engine off. You turn your flashers on, be cool about it. They don't turn on their dome lights. Okay, they're cockroaches. They like the dark.
Yeah.
Make it simple. If you're going to get a ticket, you're going to get a ticket. Maybe you ought to be driving a little slower.
Yeah.
But that's the basics. Don't be a Richard. Cops are used to being lied to. Oh, yeah, I got new tires. Oh, my speedometer's broke. Cops have a fair amount of discretion as to what they write you for. And if you fail the interview, for instance, Mr. Lathrop, you know how fast you were going? And if you say, you jerk, you've got the damn radar, he's going to go in his head, he's going to go, okay, there's cracked taillight. I can write him for that too if he keeps this up. The stated purpose is to educate.
Yeah.
We didn't get bonus donuts for more tickets. The purpose is to educate and modify behavior. So if you are obviously amenable to having your behavior modified in a way that makes it safer for the other drivers on the road, you're good to go.
Speaking for, I want to get one thing in here real fast. I forgot at the beginning. If you'd like to get your comments in, comment on either the live Facebook or YouTube video. We'll get your comments on the air. Or you can tweet with the hashtag Bullet Podcast. That actually gets through faster. And we'll get your comments on the air and we'll discuss them. One thing I will say is, just to be, you may get a laugh, but you'll also get a ticket when the cop says, Do you know why I pulled you over? Because I let you is not the correct answer. You may get a laugh. You'll also get a ticket.
Don't be a jerk. They're not. Well, the thing is, well, you pulled me over because and then you cite a skin color. Dude, somebody goes by me at 10 over on a highway, I'm probably not getting a real good look at the face, especially if it's dark. So yeah, they're pulling over the car.
Yeah. Let's take a little bit of a turn here. We're already 8 minutes in, and this is going to take up, I'm guessing, every bit of the time we have left. Most of the people, I'm guessing, that tune in are armed 24/7. I myself am armed 24/7. If I'm in bed, of course, I'm not armed, but it's close. The worst day of your life has happened. You've had to use your firearm in self-defense. You are going to be interacting with law enforcement. What does that look like, Tom?
It's going to be a long day for you. It's not going to end quickly just because you're the good guy. This is really challenging, Paul, because this is hours and hours of lecture in Massad Ayub's classes and hours of lecture. So let me just start out, say, I'm not an attorney, I'm a firearms instructor. Regardless of how much education I've had, I'm passing that on to you and what experience I've had from the other side of law enforcement. That said, there's some things to think about. We talked just a moment ago that cops are very cautious. People ambush cops. Cops are used to being lied to. Cops are used to working on little information, don't like it. Poor information is a problem, and we're dealing with people on their worst days. So if I'm sitting in the car, law enforcement, and I get a call from dispatch, hey, there's some guy at 123 Main Street says he shot some dude. We won't dispatch medical until you've secured the scene. He says he's a white guy in his 60s. That's not a lot of info, and you don't always know how true it is, because on the other end of the phone, you're more likely to have, oh my God, he just shot somebody and he broke in the house and I've never had this before and I'm really, really scared and he's bleeding, which is to be expected. So it's not going to be like TV. They're not going to pile into the squad car and go kill 3 lights and sirens at 150 miles an hour and come to a screeching halt in your driveway. You're not probably going to see that. More likely, when we would get calls, somebody with a weapon, there's been a shooting, there's been a stabbing, we might park a half a block away. We might turn the sirens off several blocks away, and we're going to come up and we're not going to announce ourselves. You have to think about what you have to work with and what the cop has to work with. So as far as what you can control is what you carry every day. We talked about everyday carry stuff. We've Facebook messaged on this. You need some tools, because remember that a self-defense situation, a critical incident situation, is a come-as-you-are event. Mm-hmm. And you don't get an invitation that tells you where and when. So you have to think about your everyday carry, and this is what you have to work with at that instant. We hope that our listeners, if they can legally do so and have had some training, carry a firearm. That's obviously number one. First rule of a gunfight, bring your gun. I tell people there are 4 things, and interestingly enough, most people don't understand that the second most important thing of the essential things is a cell phone. How do you call the cops without a phone? Okay. You need to be able to call in the cavalry. The dispatch folks, God bless them, they're angels, can send you the Marine Corps and a squad of tanks and a couple of B-52s and a laser gun, and they got to know that they need to, and they got to know where you are. So in carrying that phone, don't just depend on the GPS. Be able to describe where you are well enough to get them there. That's a practice thing you need to work on. I still work on it. What milepost am I at? You know, what's the number of the address? I ask people when they come up to FAS, what's the address of this facility? Most of them get it because they have to look it up. If it's your own home, you have that going. Don't depend on your cell phone to give them an accurate location. Right. Not all. They're getting better, but I wouldn't depend on it. Okay. The other 2 things, incidentally, are a flashlight so you can identify your target. And the last of the 4 essential things is extra ammo, just in case, goblins come in groups. Mostly for reducing a malfunction. But have your gun in a holster, cell phone. So you've called the cops. What do you tell them? A police report typically has 3 categories. There's the victim. That would be you. There are the suspects. That's the guy, the bad guy, the goblin, the knucklehead. And then hopefully witnesses, evidence. Those categories. That's a little loose, but that'll work for our purposes. You need to get on the phone as quickly as you can, even if you don't fire a shot. And I'm kind of looking to you for your story on this. As soon as gun comes out or is even mentioned, that ups the game tremendously. Get on the phone. Hey, I'm in the parking lot at Walmart. This guy came up. He threatened me with a knife. I displayed my gun. I didn't draw it, but he saw it, and he went away. I'd like an officer here now. You are listed as the victim. That guy will be the suspect. Sometimes if you don't win the race to the phone, it gets inverted, and then that person has problems. Once you've done that, you need to secure the scene so it's safe. You don't have to chase the guy. You don't have to track him down and hold them. We have no obligation as citizens to train him. Now, if you can bluff them, okay, on the ground, don't move. Police are on the way. If you move, I'll assume you're going for a weapon and I will shoot you. Do you understand? If dude gets up and runs, bye-bye. Yeah. Get a description of him. Get a direction of travel. But the police are going to arrive. So what do they know? They know somebody had a gun and did something. When you're on the phone, you can describe yourself. Hey, I'm a white male, late 60s, bald, 5'8", about 185. I'm wearing a red shirt and gray pants. That's enough to get it sorted out. Okay, so you've given them that. Understand also that dispatch usually, especially in a town of any size or a county of any size, has more than one dispatcher per shift. So while you are talking to the dispatcher that you got connected with, if it's critical, they're going, I got a hot one. Give me some help. So while you are having an interaction with them, it doesn't mean that nothing else is happening. There could be one or two other dispatchers getting emergency medical, talking to police. Police have the computer in the car. They can get that data. As soon as you give them the location, those cops can be dispatched to that location while you are still giving more information. They could be well on the way.
Yeah.
Okay. Let the 911 operator walk you through what they need once you've identified yourself as the victim and the crime that has been committed against you or that you're a victim of. Get your location. If you've got a dynamic situation, bad dude is still in the house or it's still active, you can say, hey, look, I can't talk anymore. I've got to go get my kid out of this back room. Please mute your mic, but I'm going to leave the phone on, because they are constantly recording all the audio at 911 call and will be played back in evidence either in your favor or to your detriment, depending on how much of a Richard you are. Leave it on. Tell them to mute so you can do your sneak and peek. Hopefully they will arrive at that point. Did I see you look at a comment coming in?
Yeah, we got a couple here. The first one I want to get up, and this goes back to our conversation about getting pulled over. DJ Play Nice over on the YouTube side says, I do not have an appreciation for opening questions from LEO in traffic stops. Name, reason for stop, pleasantries. But do you know why I pulled you over? Leading questions. Yeah, they're asking for you to incriminate yourself. Do you know why I pulled you over? And I mean, if I know, excuse me, if I know they pulled me over because I was doing 10 over, yeah, I was going a little quick. I'm not going to give them an exact amount.
Yeah, and they're not really looking for it. They know why they pulled you over. They've got a lock on the radar or the LiDAR or whatever reason. They've got a legit reason. They have to be able to justify that in court. They want to see how you answer. It's an attitude test. You can say, yeah, I think I was going pretty fast. I looked down and I saw I was like 10 or 12 over. What did you get? Okay, that's conversational and you're not trying to be evasive. If you say, yeah, well, you've got the radar, idiot. What do you think? That's like, it's not going to change the charge, but you're not going to talk your way out of a ticket. Okay, you can't talk your way out of a ticket, but you can sure as heck talk your way into more tickets.
Yes.
Make it a reasonable conversation. It's not personal. If you want to argue the ticket, argue it in court. Because you're not going to win the argument on the side of the road. Not going to happen.
One thing I would strongly encourage, and this comes straight from 20 years as a professional truck driver, get a dash cam. If you want to argue a ticket, get a dash cam that records speed and puts it on the display of the recording. If it's the Porsche that was doing 23 miles an hour over the speed limit, but he thinks he tagged you, and it wasn't you, it was the Porsche, you can take that to court and you will win. Do not argue it on the side of the road or you're going to have a lot more headaches.
And if you just simply have a reasonable conversation, officer, there was this Porsche, I think that's it, I've got a dash cam, we'll take a look at it, we'll see what happens, and it turned out to be right, cop will say, sorry sir, I did the best I could.
Yeah.
Good cop will do that.
DJ Plain Ice, and we're starting to get lots more comments coming in. DJ Plain Ice also said, I really like the idea of including a self-description. Great tip. Well, yeah, if you've had to use your firearm in self-defense, you want them to know who the good guy is.
Keep it simple. I describe myself. I'm late 60s, bald, beard. I've got a red-colored polo and gray pants. That's enough. That's enough to separate you from the other people. I suggest not worrying about he's got a hat on, he's got glasses on. Those things get knocked off, taken off. You give enough of those, especially if you don't intend to disguise yourself when they roll up. And they'll know who to start talking to. They show up, officer, I'm so glad you're here. I'm the one that called. Mm-hmm. And then let them tell you what to do from there. If they say do the Macarena in Spanish, what do? I don't speak Spanish, but I dance really good. Here we go.
There you go. Charlie Chambers.
Hey, Charlie.
Do you know why I pulled you over? It's my lucky day.
Yeah.
George says, when the cop says, "Do you know why I'm stopping you?" I ask, "Is it because you failed the test to become a firefighter?"
That one, it's funny. Okay, for those of you that don't know, cops and firefighters have this ongoing thing. You know why God made cops? Because firefighters need heroes. Okay? Firefighters get issued, cops, we get issued a badge, a gun, they get issued a fork and a pillow. We give each other trash, but I'll tell you this. When our local fire guys came up to support us, we had an injury or a shooting or something nasty had happened to somebody on the worst day of their life, they, by God, were our best friends, and they took care of us, and we took care of them. It's a friendly rivalry, but it is a lively one.
Yes, I very much believe it. Let me get this one in. Charlie Chambers says, because of Paul, I have a dashboard cam. Because of Tom Gresham, I have outdoor and indoor blink cameras for the home. I love those cameras, the Ring blink cameras that you can look at your phone and see who's at your door. I love those things.
Only steal ideas from the best, Charlie.
And then one more, and we'll get moving on here. DJ Play Nice. I let dispatch ask the questions during 911 interactions. Anything else has a potential to confuse things. They will walk you through the information they need, after identifying your complaint. There's something to be said. I was forced to shoot somebody. I was being attacked. I had to shoot somebody. Please send law enforcement, send an ambulance. But yeah, you are going to your recording of that 911 call is going to be scrutinized by law enforcement, by district attorneys, by a lot. Yeah, it's going to be scrutinized. So
evidentiary. DJ, good comment. Thanks. Dispatch, depending on the program that they use in their facility, the computer program, once you've identified, hey, you can give your name, they'll ask for it, certainly. But I'm the victim of a crime, this is where it is, any other critical information, and then they literally have a template of stuff they fill out, or they're certainly trained well enough and experienced well enough to know what they need to give you the help that you need. So understand that that's their job, is to give you the help that you need. Don't make it hard for them. You can overload somebody with information.
Yeah. One thing I would like to mention, and it's when police show up on scene, I'm imagining, Tom, that they're going to make, when they actually get their eyes on you, they're going to let you know that they're the police. I would hope by that time you've got the gun either on the ground or back in the holster, one of the two. You do not want to have that firearm still pointed at even the bad guy at that point. You want to have that firearm either on the ground or in a holster, and your hands where they're easily seen.
In a really ideal situation, which is another way of saying it doesn't happen often, but if you can, let's pick an ideal situation scenario. What the heck? Let's say you're at the local Stop and Rob, otherwise known as a Minute Mart or 7-Eleven, and something's happened, and you've drawn, and bad guys on the ground, and the good guys are all okay. You've called 911. You've checked to see if there's anybody else hurt that you didn't see. You got medical coming. Ask the manager to lock the door. Okay, because bad guys come in packs, right?
Yes.
Okay, getaway driver, cockroaches travel in groups, to give you something. And have them wait with their name tag that says manager to get law enforcement, and that can be the buffer. When law enforcement arrives, regardless of whether or not you have the greeter, have the gun put away. Either holster it or put it down and take a couple of steps back, okay? If you've got somebody at gunpoint, which is not a common occurrence, but it does happen, if you've got somebody at gunpoint, you can hold a gun at low ready, and as soon as you see the cop in your holster, or if you're not able to do that, step away from it. You absolutely do not want to have a gun in your hand when law enforcement shows up. Because what's their experience? Somebody was shot, there's a guy with a gun. I can pretty much guarantee you're going to get guns pointed at you, and then it's going to get real frisky.
Mm-hmm.
Not irretrievable, but you're going to have to tread carefully. Let's just avoid that. Don't get into the, I have a perfect right to do this, I have a carry permit, I took a class. Those are all great things. Remember what the cop knows. Somebody shot somebody, and there's the guy with the gun. He said he was the good guy, but every other call I've been on in the last 20 years, the bad guy acts the way this guy's acting.
Yes.
Do that. Act like a good guy. Understand that you may well get thrown to the ground. You may get cussed at a little bit. Oh my God, you might get F-bombed because they're going to be amped up too.
Yep.
You may well get cuffed. It's okay.
You're probably going to take a ride downtown.
Yeah, don't be a Richard, because they've done it a billion times to bad guys. If you act like a bad guy, they're going to file in their mind and probably in their report at least an impression that you're a bad guy. Cuffs can come off. Pops will come in, and if it's questionable, they will cuff everybody, including the corpse, until nobody can hurt nobody, and then things calm down and it's safe, and then they'll start to sort it out. Don't delay the process. Okay? So you've come in, you've identified, I'm the good guy, I'm the one that called, thank you so much. There's the bad guy on the ground. Start pointing out stuff that will be evidentiary, because if you're a good guy, it's all good stuff, right? Bad guys don't do this. There's his gun. I think he had a knife in his back pocket. I'm not sure, but it may have fallen under that couch. There's the door. You can see his boot print on the door. There's my neighbor. He's got one of those Ring cameras that he heard about from the Second Amendment, the Bullet podcast from that ball guy. Mm-hmm. Okay, there might be some video there. This person in the 7-Eleven was taking video. This person was a witness. Point out the evidence that they need, especially if it might be evidence that could be compromised. If it's raining, you've got problems. We could go on and on for this. Once you've got that out, stop answering questions, because you're going to be amped. Your memory is going to be bad. A class will teach you about auditory exclusion, memory issues, tunnel vision, stuff we don't have anywhere near the time to get into here.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have diarrhea of the mouth.
Oh yeah, you want somebody to tell you did okay, and understand that the cop is not there to be your buddy. The cop is there because somebody shot somebody, and if you tell him, man, I'm really sorry I had to shoot that guy, the suspect said he shot somebody. He admitted it. Boy, I was sure angry at him when I shot him. Suspect admitted anger when he shot victim. Yeah, stop yourself before you think you need to. Again, this is something that really takes hours and hours to go through and role play and rehearsal. Bottom line, regardless if it's a traffic stop or if it's a critical incident of the worst day of your life in the end of somebody else's, don't be a dick. Act like a good guy that you are. Understand it's going to take time. Don't argue on the street. It'd make things a lot easier in the long run.
And it's never a good idea to approach the law enforcement officer and say, you need to calm down. That just never works.
Yeah, the other one that cops really hate, hey, you work for me. I pay your salary. That would be no.
Yeah, okay. Last I checked, that the chief of police is the one that actually issues the orders for cops. So
yeah, and I work
for sheriff if they're deputies or yeah. I've never pulled that one myself, but you know,
probably one of those attitude things.
All right. Well, let's. We're down at the bottom of the hour. Before we go, I want to. Is there anything else we need to? Yes, there's a lot more we need to talk about interactions with law enforcement. But is there? Let me ask this: is classes? Are there any specific classes you can think of that you could recommend for delving more into this topic?
I'll make one recommendation, and any instructor, I think, will back me up. Massad Ayub's MAG 40, or at least the legal portion, the MAG 20. Understand that Massad Ayub has forgotten more about legal defense issues, legal and ballistic, than either of us will ever learn. Can't recommend it enough. It is the gold standard in the United States.
I've been through the MAG 40 myself many times. I've hosted the MAG 40 several times, and when you're a host, you get to sit through it as much as you want to. And so, yeah, I've seen his material many times, and every time I sit through it, I learn something. I've seen it, I'm betting 8 to 10 times, and every time, why didn't I pick that up the first 6, 7, 8, 9 times I've seen it?
There's a reason for that. Diane and I have been on the range staff for Mass when he's come up to FAS every year for 15, 16 years. And we'll sit in on as much of the lecture as we can. And the reason you're picking up on new stuff, Paul, he always updates. He's always up to date with his legal stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well, we do have to shut this down. As always, Tom, man, it's been a blast. Thank you again. And we're, heads up, this is the last show this week. Again, no broadcast tomorrow. We do have a regular Monday broadcast next week. And then I start my road trip down to Atlanta. We'll be doing, the plan is to do regular Monday through Friday broadcasts, 5 p.m. Central Time. The mobile studio setup, we're going to be trying it out. But Monday through Friday Central Time the next several weeks. Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Central Time the next several weeks. No Saturday shows until June. But thanks for watching, everybody. Come join us again on Monday. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, folks.